Welcome to the Default Profitable Podcast. You're listening to the next episode. Today we're going to talk about what it takes to run and grow a technical services businesses. We'll be talking about some successes, some failures, and some actual lessons from a business owner. I'm your host, Matt Nettleton, and today my guest is Douglas Zabonick. Doug, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Well, listen, we've talked a couple times and we've talked here. Why don't you take a minute or two and introduce yourself and your company to everybody?
All right, very good. Well, again, my name is Doug Zabonick. The company is Patriot Engineering and Environmental, Inc. We're located here in Indianapolis. We're coming up on our 30-year anniversary in 2025. I've been here since 2015. Have been in the Indianapolis market since I graduated in 1983. Live up in Westfield with my wife of 42 years and have a couple kids and three young grandkids.
Oh, wow. So where'd you graduate from college?
Michigan Tech.
Michigan Tech, okay.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Okay. All right. And you ended up here. Now, you did not always work for Patriot.
That is correct.
So
correct. This is my fourth consulting firm.
Okay. So your fourth consulting firm. So what was it that made you end up at Patriot? How did you get there? And what does Patriot do? Let's cover that too.
Yeah. Again, consulting engineering. We have three primary service areas: geotechnical engineering, environmental engineering, and construction materials testing.
Okay.
Essentially, that's anybody that's going to buy property or build or develop anything. It's everything from the ground up and all the testing that goes into construction.
Okay. And so how long does it typically take you from start to finish to do a project?
Really varies depending on the service area. We've got some projects that last a month and some projects that last multiple years. So right now we are, as an example, we're working on a project in Liberty, North Carolina for Toyota. That's going to be a 5-year plus project. I've got about 10 guys working on that project. That's a brand new battery plant. We're working on the brand new Eli Lilly facility up in Lebanon. Again, that's going to be about a 3-year project.
All right. So this is pretty technical, pretty detailed, all the things that make me shiver a little bit.
Absolutely. It's engineers and scientists, doing all the technical stuff.
Yeah, great. Love it. So this is your fourth firm. How did you end up with Patriot? What was it that made you switch? And kind of give us a little bit of your Patriot engineering origin story.
Sure. Well, again, what you would find is that in the consulting engineering business in central Indiana, pretty much everybody knows everybody. It's a relatively small community. And my background is I'm a little bit of a unicorn in that I've practiced in all three service areas in our business. Usually what you'll find is there's geotechnical engineers, environmental engineers, and then there's the construction materials guys. And through my experience, I had a chance to lead and practice in all three areas. So Patriot, the three founders, one of the original guys had already retired. The other two were in the process of looking to retire. And so I'm their transition plan. They were aware of my capabilities and reputation and brought me in 2015. I actually started to run the environmental group first, then took over the Indianapolis operations, and then in March of 2020 was elected president. I should have mentioned we're a employee owned. We're not an ESOP, but we are an employee owned, privately held company, sub S corporation.
Oh, that's interesting. So is there I'm familiar with ESOPs. Is there a specific designation for an employee? Is there a plan for that, or is it just employee
It's
owned S corp?
it's employee owned. We actually have 74 shareholders right now. The way we're set up is any employee that has been here more than a year and is in good standing, obviously someone that's going to be around for a while, has the opportunity to purchase shares in the company. So we've got everybody from administrative assistants all the way up to obviously myself that own shares in the company.
All right.
Uh, Several, our largest shareholder has been here 20 25 years.
Wow.
And he's in the process of transitioning out, and very excited to say, we're going to end up writing him some pretty big checks.
Those are the checks that make you cry happily, but they make you cry.
That's right. That's right. And as I say around here, my goal would be for everybody that works at Patriot to end up being a millionaire when they retire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well, we'll talk about it, but that's interesting because a lot of people, when they think about business owners, they think about the profit that the business owner makes. But when you talk to business owners, they talk about the money that their people actually get to take home,
Absolutely.
which
Absolutely.
is, yeah, it's a fun disconnect. So what was it? You were trotting around the globe doing all these different projects for different engineering firms. What was it that made you say in 2015, hey, I'll come to Indianapolis and settle down with Patriot?
Well, I'd been in Indianapolis, but since the beginning, and I just think Patriot, quite frankly, gave me an opportunity to go back to my roots. The two companies that I'd been running prior to Patriot were both primarily environmental, and one of the things that attracted me to Patriot was to go back to a firm that offered all three services and gave the opportunity for us to work with developers and engineers and provide provide that continuity as projects go through phases. What we typically see in this business is, the environmental engineer, will see a contaminated property. They'll do all these recommendations and they'll do a cleanup, and not thinking about end use. So it might be common for them to, they'll dig it up, they'll backfill the hole, all the contaminated soil went to the landfill, and then they wash their hands of it. And then the geotechnical engineer comes in, and the first thing he says is, "Well, we have to dig all this back up because you didn't compact it properly, and you can't build on it."
Ah,
So,
perfect.
that's one of those things that, again, an opportunity to join an organization that offered all three and really pull all those together in service to our clients.
All right. It's interesting. You sound like you have a bit of a passion for the industry.
Absolutely, I love what I do. I really I love the people I work with. Love the opportunity to serve clients, and we have a lot of discussions around here, and uh, people talk about the engineering side, but the reality is that everything we do ultimately is about, in my mind, safety. It's you build buildings. The reason we do what we do from a geotechnical standpoint is so that buildings don't settle, bridges stand. The testing is done so that it's built according to specifications. And then obviously the environmental side is, in human health and the environment. So that safety thread runs through everything. Um, and it's all about service. I think people in the consulting industry forget that it's about service and serving clients. And I preach that all the time to all of my staff. It's not about the technical piece. It's about serving and adding value for our clients.
Yeah. So in 2020, when you were elected president, you had been in the industry for about 35 years. That
Yeah.
frees up. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
What what surprised you when you became president? What things did you not realize that were going to be on your plate?
Well, March of 2020 was an interesting time, right? Uh, I, uh, I joke with the former president. It's like I'm the first mate on the Titanic. Here's the keys. I hope you like the band,
Yeah.
right? And but because of the interesting times, I mean, I think what surprised me to a certain extent is, and it's true of any company as they mature, and of course I'm coming in after the founders, is they started the business with some really strong core values, and among those core values was this idea of uh, everybody owns a piece of the pie. The employee ownership that was set up. Uh, but as you grow and mature, and as we expanded operations, uh, you bring on new people, and they drift, I guess, from the core values of the original founders. And that discussion, was a big thing that, quite frankly, I brought back. Is the company was beginning to get siloed, and everybody was talking about profits. And it's just that I think the founders had gotten to the point. I think it's a mistake that many founders make is they forget to remind everybody of the vision and why you're there in the first place, what you're all about. They think everybody already knows that. So, and what happened, realistically, what happened, we've got 9 offices. Each office was kind of operating as their own little silo, their own little fiefdom, um, and kind of lost sight a little bit of the core values and the core mission. So we've spent a lot of time uh, really focused on that culture and bringing it back together. Um, and again, it's uh, our share value has gone up dramatically. We've had record profits, and I think everybody that's buying in, and it's really going back to those core values of service, technical excellence, and character and integrity.
We talk about when we train managers, we talk about the number one thing a manager has to do is recruit, which
Mm-hmm.
is you have to recruit new people, but you
Right,
have to recruit all the existing people to see their part in the bigger vision.
right,
And if you
right.
can't do that, it doesn't matter
I've
how many
heard
new people
it
you have.
said before, vision leaks, and people
Yes.
forget about that. You know, you have to keep repeating what the vision is. You have to really uh, not only articulate the cultural values, but you have to live them. And when again, anything successful is going to involve people, and people are messy. And so it's as things get messy, you got to go back to uh, those core values, and how you're going to treat people. Uh, and sometimes it hurts.
Yeah.
But
And
one of
knowing
the
that we're focusing on new business owners or aspiring business owners, one of the things that you're pointing out is you better develop core values. You better have a vision and a mission.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think as the other piece that I would, particularly for new owners, is uh, transparency. I mean, one of the things that it's easy to do as you are growing the business is, well, it's easier for me to do it myself rather than delegate or really show someone, or you show people the task. And we're almost 200 people, and 60% of those folks are technician level people. They're certainly trained workers in the construction field, and it would be real easy for them to say, all I'm doing is running this test. They showed me how to run this test. And I think it's important they understand why we run the test. How does this fit in the bigger picture of the business? The other part is we've been very transparent about our financials,
Right.
and it's from top to bottom. Just going back to kind of the surprise question, I was surprised at some of the seasoned managers and how little they really understood the financials. And, you know, again, profit loss, how they understood profit in terms of, what it was. What they didn't understand was how we got there.
Right.
So again, some education there, that was a pretty big gap. And all of a sudden, the lights are going on upstairs with, oh, now I know why I was losing money on this project or losing money on this. Now that I understand things like overhead and taxes and all the different things that come into this, the benefits.
It's it so you're episode 85, I believe. And it has been more than 40 of the episodes. Financial literacy has been the primary thing people wish they knew more about, because
Oh yeah,
business financial literacy is not financial literacy at home. It's two different things.
exactly,
So,
exactly. And I think what comes with that is, uh, I've seen a lot of folks, and again, I had managers that were chasing top line. They chase these sexy projects, big dollar revenue, and you get to the end of the project or look at the client and you go, "We're losing money here, buddy.
yeah.
This is not, it's not as great as you think it is, and it's just because you didn't have an understanding of of the financials." And again, the old saying, "Cash is king." It's not what you invoiced; it's what you actually collected and get to keep.
Yes. Yes. It's always what you keep. Always what you keep.
Exactly.
So, if you think about, I mean, and we talked about this when we set the appointment for the interview, most engineers are not really taught how to run a business.
Right.
It's not
Absolutely.
really, they're good with math, but they're not good with business math. And what if you were an engineer just getting out of Purdue, just getting out of Michigan Tech, wherever, what what things would you say, hey, you should probably look into this if you want to run your own engineering firm?
I think it goes back again. Financial literacy would be immediate. Get some really good business classes. Um, one of the books, and I've got a library of over 4,000 books on my Kindle, and almost all of them are nonfiction. I think my brother was asking me. I think I've got less than 200 fiction titles on there. Uh, but Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0 by Jim Collins, great. I mean, if I was starting out, that is like for me that is fundamental. Uh, it's got leadership, it's got culture, it's got some financials. Uh, the other piece would be hook yourself with a good financial advisor. I mean, there's the training piece yourself, but you really need to find someone that you trust that can help you understand some of the nuances that come with business financials. Taxes can kill you. Your line of credit and all those other things. Uh, you know, those are important. Again, I was fortunate that I'm married to an accountant, so
An accountant and an engineer.
yeah, ability to come home and say, okay, help me with this.
Yes. What does this mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. When you talk to people that you're friends with that say, hey, I really enjoy getting my paychecks on the 15th and the 20th, but I'm thinking about starting a business. What what do you tell them the difference between being an employee and being a business owner is?
I think, yeah, I go back. I'm a big believer in the servant leadership model, and one of the basic tenets of servant leadership is you get paid last. You know, the leaders eat last is the as the term goes.
Yeah.
So you still have to make sure that you're going to make a living, but you need to understand the risk that comes with being an owner, and quite frankly, the responsibility. And for me, that sense of sacrifice and responsibility, uh, you're not prepared to make sure that your employees are paid first. Uh, you might want to reconsider going into business. Those are, again, when we, part of being an employee owned uh, company, and we when we set up our profit sharing and our bonus programs, uh, one of the senior folks came to me and said, Doug, you understand that your profit sharing is less than some of our project managers? And my statement was, yeah, I understand that completely. That's the way we set that up, because I don't make money unless folks that are here that are actually doing the work are happy, healthy, making money. I'm not. I'm not in front of every client every day. My staff is. My team members are.
Yeah.
Uh, so again, if you're going to be successful at any organization, you got to have people, and those people to feel secure. Uh, and when they're when payroll needs to be made, the owner is the one that has to go to the bank, not the not the team member.
Yeah, that's another pretty consistent theme for people that have started up, and it's been referred to as the skinnies, where you're sitting waiting by the mailbox because the check's going to be there and you can cover payroll. So
Exactly.
yeah. All right. So if 2024 Doug could go back and talk to 2020 Doug, knowing everything that you know now, what's the one thing you would tell 2020 Doug to focus on first?
Well, I remind them that people are extremely important if you're going to go anywhere. Uh, and to have a sense of trust. Uh, but I would also, if I've made a mistake in my career, it's that I've held on to trust and hope too long. Is that you know there are times you need to act quicker. That's usually, you've heard the old expression, hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
That is, there are times when you just need to pull the trigger, and it may be painful and you got to rip the band-aid off.
And in
Those
my
have probably been the
experience,
biggest mistakes.
those people are surprised that it took you that long. Usually,
Yeah, yeah,
they knew it was coming.
right.
So
I think the other thing that I've learned in my career is, again, I go back and quote Jim Collins. He talks about the genius of the and. I think earlier in my career, and I see that mistake made by young business owners, young team members, is everything's or binary decisions.
yeah,
I can either do this or I can do this, and reality is that most things in life are an
yeah,
and it's a lot more difficult, particularly in a business, uh, to focus on the and. But I think that's where we've had the biggest success, is focusing on the and. It's like, again, I see all these internet companies that growth, 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 and no profit. And
that's how we got here.
yeah, yeah, and it's like, no, it's profit and growth, and it's a much harder road, and it's a little slower, but it's much more sustainable. It's more consistent. So, I tell them, remember the power of the and it's not or.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a quick 26 minutes, 25 minutes. Any any last thought for somebody who's an aspiring business owner? Anything you want to close on that you didn't get to say?
I think the biggest thing, again, everybody's selling, and I think it's remembering what you're selling. Again, it's. I see a lot of young business owners. Again, they chase the sexy and the big dollars, and forget the fundamentals, and recognize that just about everything that is sold is really a service as opposed to a widget or a product. I mean,
Right.
it may manifest itself as a product, but it's all the other things that go into that are much more important than just the product.
Yeah. That's a it's a reminder of doing the right thing the right way at the right time, even if it's a little bit tough to take as the
Right.
person that has to write the checks. So,
Yeah,
yeah, well,
absolutely.
that's a good place to wrap up. I'm going to remind everybody that if you want to learn more about Patriot or Doug, you can go to the show notes at defaultprofitable.com. And by the way, there are 3 ways you can help the podcast grow. One, hit subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes. 2, leave a review on Apple or whatever platform you use. And 3, if you hear something interesting, share the episode with somebody you know. Doug, thanks for being a great guest.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a great time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And for our listeners, we'll be back next week with the next episode of Default Profitable. Until then, stay focused, keep working, stay profitable.